In this video, I'm going to show you how you take your Excel slices from chunky monkeys to svelte and stylish. Slices are essential to building user-friendly interactive Excel reports, but out of the box, they're rather large. And that can be a pain when you're building reports like Excel dashboards where space is restricted. Unfortunately, the Excel slicer formatting available is limited, and there's only so far you can go because there's no option to reduce the font size. But buried deep in the menus, there is a way. Come on, let me show you. The trick is to create your own custom slicer style. So select the slicer to reveal the contextual slicer tab. And then in the slicer styles gallery, choose a style that's close to what you want. Trust me, this will save you time. Right-click the style you like and duplicate. Then in the Modify Slicer Style dialog box that opens here, give your style a name. I'll call mine Compact. Then select Whole Slicer in the Elements list and click Format. In the Font tab, alter the font size as you want. I'm going to go with font size 9. You can also choose different font styles here, which will also impact the size. This will allow you to make the button height smaller. Now, unfortunately, there's no way to set the slicer background to no fill, but on the Border tab, you can set the border to none, which will enable you to overlap the slicer slightly because you aren't constrained by the borders. You can also select the other elements and modify them as required, but generally I'm too busy for fiddling about with that. Lastly, be sure to check the Set as Default Slicer Style for this document box so that any new slicers you insert automatically pick up this style. Now, your slicer style will be the first in the gallery, and all you need to do is apply it to the slicers already in the workbook. And a shortcut for this is to select one slicer and then press Ctrl-A to select all the slicers. This will select all objects in the sheet. As you can see, the chart is also selected. So I'll hold down Shift and deselect the chart. If you have shapes or images, those will also be selected. So it might be quicker just to select them one by one if you have lots of objects. And now I can apply the formatting with one click. Now I'm able to reduce the slicer button size to 0.5, and because the border isn't visible, I can position the slicer close to the other objects, even overlapping them slightly to make the best use of space. I'll reduce the width to fit it above the chart. Another thing I like to do when the purpose of the slicer is obvious is hide the header. As is the case here, we all know these are countries, it doesn't need a header. So I'll remove that. Now the only downside of this is that it also removes the Clear Filters button, the X in the top right. So another way to remove filters is to select all items in the slicer, but this may be inconvenient in slicers with lots of items, so you have to consider whether keeping the heading outweighs the inconvenience. A cool trick is to make the slicers look like sheet tabs. And we can do this by reducing the height of the slicer until the bottom of the slicer is just cut off. And as a finishing touch, draw a line shape under the buttons to give the appearance of the top of a page. I just hold down Shift as you left click and drag to draw the straight line. And we can even bring it across under the chart title. And I'll give it a drop shadow by the Shape Format tab, Shape Effects, and Shadow. I'll choose Offset Bottom. And one annoying feature of slicers is it's super easy to accidentally activate the pull handles if you misclick the slicer buttons. And not only do they make your report look unfinished in this state, but they can also be accidentally moved or resized. So an easy way to prevent this is by going into the slicer formatting with the keyboard shortcut Ctrl-1, and then under Position and Layout, check the box to disable resizing and moving. Now when you accidentally misclick the buttons, the slicer displays its outer edge rather than the pull handles. Another annoying feature of pivot tables and slicers is when you group dates in pivot tables, you automatically also have items added for dates less than the first date in your dataset and greater than the last date. And they show up in the filter drop-downs and slicers. Now, there's nothing you can do to remove them. However, you can hide them in the slicer settings and then hide items with no data. One of the limitations of slicers is you can't force people to only select one item. And this is important when you're linking the slicer to a formula that can only reference one item at a time. But I've got a clever workaround for this, so check out this video next, where I also show you a crafty way to force users to only select one item. See you there.